Heavyweight boxing fans, what's the deal? We're gonna talk about some light heavyweight stuff right now, man. Actually, it's the 10th round of this Yarde versus Kovalev fight. The eighth round, man, looked like Kovalev was ready to go. Yarde was doing a good job of walking him down, going to his body. We all know that Kovalev does not like it to the body. Really, no fighter likes it to the body, but Kovalev, the way he reacts, he'll start to move his arms down. He'll start to get a little bit uncomfortable. He'll push his trunks down. It's the 10th round right now. Kovalev, but after that eighth round, like I said, looked like Kovalev was ready to go. Yarde's doing a great job of walking him down, going to the body, walking through his power, man. And then the ninth round looked like Yarde was trying to catch a breather. I don't know if he got exhausted from the eighth round, but it was like he wasn't doing much, and Kovalev was landing some good right hands, using his jab. He was making Yarde reset, and Yarde was resetting with his hands down, man. So I gave Kovalev that ninth, and I'm giving him right now. I got him winning this 10th round. It's a minute past in the 10th round. Kovalev's using his jab. Yarde has his best success when he walks Kovalev down and he goes to the body. And then he's landing little short shots upstairs, overhand rights and left hooks. The beginning of the fight, all right, y'all, I'm back, man. I don't know what the hell's going on with this, but it looked like Yarde was the beginning of the fight looking for that check left hook. Looked like he was trying to time Kovalev's right hand. Yarde is taking some big shots, man. For a guy that doesn't have that much experience, man, he's taking some big shots, and he's been walking Kovalev down the whole time. There's been sometimes during the fight in the early rounds where he was kind of resetting, kind of, when guys are trying to fill each other out, he would paw with the jab and then reset. But when he gets his good work in is when he walks, ooh, good right hand by Kovalev, is when he oh, good right hand by Kovalev. Yarde looks hurt now. He looks kind of he's in the corner. He's on the ropes. This is what I was saying. Being on the ropes against a power puncher. Good jab by Kovalev. It's the 10th round right now. Yarde's been breathing through his mouth pretty heavy the last few rounds, and he's carrying that left hand dangerously low. You can counter that by saying that so is Kovalev, you know what I mean? But Yarde is one thing to be walking forward with him, and I guess having your hands low is having your hands low, whether you're going back in a straight line or coming forward. But Yarde, you can tell these punches are taking much more effect now in the 10th round. He's, ooh, good jab. He covered up. His head is getting snapped back by everything now. He's firing back. Now he has both guards up. You could, ooh, he's in the corner. Kovalev's putting on the onslaught. Yarde's fighting back. Oh, end of the round. Oh, shit. End of the round, man. I gave that one to Kovalev. Kovalev's came back strong in these last few rounds, man. I got Kovalev up probably 6-4, maybe 7-3. I wasn't really keeping track of the first few rounds. I thought this fight was going to end by knockout, man, based on Kovalev being a power puncher and Yarde pretty much having like a 90% KO percentage. Um, Into the 10th round, though, man, Yarde was starting to show effect. That round right there, man. His head was getting snapped back by everything. Kovalev's jab, his right hand, his hooks, everything. And Yarde wasn't returning fire. His nose been busted the last few rounds. He's putting up a hell of an effort, man. I got to give it to the kid as far as his effort goes. He didn't come to lay down. He didn't come to get hit with one good right hand and call it a day. He's sucking it up, man. And that's the most hurt I've seen him in this fight, that 10th round, because he was against the ropes. He wasn't countering back, and he put both guards up. He wasn't using the shell. He put both hands up, so you can tell there's some fatigue there, and those shots are affecting him. Everything was affecting him. Now he's coming out 11th round. He's being aggressive. He's leaning forward. He's better watch out for an uppercut. Kovalev really isn't a big uppercut guy, but Yarde is kind of leaning forward with his work right now, man. But he's walking to Kovalev's power, and he's throwing shots right now. Kovalev against the ropes. Yarde's trying to use his physicality. Ooh, Yarde just hit the canvas. He got kind of pushed down. They tangled up. It's funny when you see how both guys are built. Now their feet could have got tangled up, but how both guys are built, Kovalev being the taller, slender guy, and Yarde being the more muscle-bound guy, you would think they get into a clinch. I didn't see the footwork, but you get into a clinch, you would think Kovalev would be the one falling down. But it's like when their bodies are hitting each other, it seems like Yarde is the one being pushed back by the physicality right now. Ooh, see, now there we go with this when he stands flat-footed with the shoulder roll thing. Now he doesn't, he's literally has his hands down, just bending down, but he's getting out the way. He still has some fight in him. Kovalev's using that jab, trying to keep distance. He's doing a good job of keeping Yard outside of his reach, man. Yard is just now there's no bending at well now he's really not bending at the waist. It's just putting the guard up and bending down, but he's really not bending and getting out of the way of multiple shots. Now he's reluctant to just taking the shots as far as with his guards up and just praying, biting down on his mouthpiece and just praying for the best that one doesn't slip through. His eyes swelling up. He's tired, man. He is tired. Kovalev just needs to turn it up. 11th rounders. Oh, he just hits the canvas. He just got dropped. Oh, he knocked him out. He didn't get up, man. He got knocked down flat on his back. Kovalev wins by knockout in 11th round. Let me see what was it. Yard went for left hook and he got hit with a right hand. I was just saying that. The check left hook or Kovalev's right hand. I could tell beginning of the fight that both guys were looking for that. I want them to show the replay. I want to be sure. Yard did attempt a left hook. He was throwing a low left. It was a jab. It was a jab. And Yard did land the left hook. That was fatigue. That was due to fatigue. Oh, it was a jab, man. And it dropped him hard, too. That was fatigue coupled with being hit with a lot of other great shots during the fight, man. And Kovalev does have a good jab. All right, so I was wrong I thought it was the right hand, but Yard was looking for that left hook, and he actually landed the left hook, man. But Kovalev's jab was more powerful late into the fight. Kovalev had to dig for that one, man. That young boy right there. Look, you lose a fight, you lose a fight. There's no brownie points, but that young buck right there fought his ass off, man. Anthony Yard fought his ass off. I'll give him that. Not too many dudes that just walk to Kovalev's power. Yes, I know guys like Andre Ward after he softened them up and things like that. But Andre Ward is a phenomenal fighter. You know what I mean? So for this dude to have that type of fight and was actually having some success, I gave him some rounds. I had going into the 11th, 6-4, maybe 7-3, probably 6-4 Kovalev. But he was definitely coming on strong late. That 8th round looked like Kovalev was ready to go, man. It looked like he was ready to go. But he sucked it up, you know what I mean? Showed some resilience. Got to give Kovalev his props. He's getting hit with some good body shots. He fought well against an explosive younger fighter. You know what I mean? He had to dig down for that, man. Kovalev, that young boy came to fight, man. Anthony, what do you say? Lions in the camp? Hey, I hope this doesn't set the young men back too much. I think, yeah, they show the replay of it. Just get back in the gym, man. Go back, all the old cliches, go back to the drawing board. Just get back in the gym. He's still young. You got knocked out against a champion. You perform well, great effort. I know there's some probably contenders right now in the or guys with more experience that are contenders that probably wouldn't have done as well as Yard did tonight. You know what I mean? But Kovalev 36 and Yard is what 27, 26, something like that. So he's still relatively young in the sport, man. So get this kid a little bit more experience, get him back, let him heal up. Obviously, you don't want to rush him in there, but let him heal up and get right back to it, man. You know what I mean? Probably against a tough journeyman type of guy. We don't need to put him in there with guys that are 2 wins and 52 losses or been knocked out 15 times consecutively prior to the fight. We don't need none of that. A good tough journeyman type of guy, man, and let him build from there. See what y'all talking about, man. Red Trolls or Die 79 Boxing says Yard going to have to implement sparring partners and cardio workouts to reduce some of that muscle mass. Yeah, muscle mass guys always scare me, man. As far as looking at them from just a talent and how far I think they can go, in my opinion. Usually guys like that want to get fights over with early. You know what I mean? So yes, the muscle mass, especially going down the stretch, man. I once heard Larry Holmes talk about having a whole bunch of muscle years ago, you know what I mean? So, man, that dude had to dig down tonight, man. Yard came for it. I couldn't believe how he was just walking Kovalev down at certain points, just like literally, like, he was walking through the power. But like I say though, man, people give Andre Ward, even Alvarez in the first fight credit, but you also got to take into the account that those guys didn't go unscathed, and you're going to get hit against Kovalev. You're not just going to go in there and what I mean. You're not going to taste his power. Shit, even Andre Ward got knocked down in the first fight. You dig what I'm saying? So you're going to taste some power. It's how you react after that. And this kid was tasting some power, and he reacted like a fighter. He kept coming forward, kept fighting his style. He didn't switch. He didn't get hit with a good shot. So, oh man, I got hit in the face. I'm about to just do something else. I'm about to just fight a totally different fight. You know what I mean? He kept trying to bring his game plan. And I think his plan B was to circle away. He did a good job. I noticed this at the beginning of the fight is he was circling away from Kovalev's power. The bad thing with that is Kovalev also has a good jab, and he uses jab as a thudding punch sometimes. So you're actually walking into his jab. You know what I mean? So you got to mix it up with your attack when you try to work your way in on him, man. It was a good fucking fight though, man. Get to y'all's comment. I appreciate y'all showing up, man. I was trying to start my phone, but YouTube kept kicking me off during the eighth round because I was about to get ready to say, "Hey man, I was wrong about Yard. He about to stop Kovalev. Kovalev looked ready to go in the eighth, man, but he held on." King Strick, what it do? Jay Jerk was good, man. Marquise Johnson, what's up? Blackout was good. Chris Smiley was good, man. Bottom of Cali, what it do? Let me see here. Jay Jerk says, "I'm glad this is holding until Florida and Miami play tonight." Oh yeah, that's gonna be a tough one, man. They schedule each other the first game. Let me see here. Yes, Lamont, he had his hands down the whole fight. And that's kind of his style, bro, is to walk you down with the low hands and give you his left shoulder. He'll try to counter you. He loves using straight right hands and left hooks to counter and sometimes to lead. So sometimes guys that I've seen fight with their hands down, they bait you into thinking that it's safe. Like, oh, he got his hands down, boom, and then you get caught with something because they have very fast hands, like a Roy Jones Jr., Floyd Mayweather, guys of that nature. Yard has quick hands, but he's nowhere near that level of hand speed, but he does have pretty quick hands. Joe Host, what it do, man? Universal Truth. He says Yard blew his energy when he got Kovalev hurt in the eighth. Yeah, I would say that, man, because in the ninth he was trying to recover, and Kovalev, having the experience, knew this. So what did he do? Attacked and kept attacking, and didn't let up on Yard. That's where the experience comes in. Like, man, this kid's had a great round. Uh, he may be looking to recover. I need to step it up. Championship level experience, man. Say what you want about Kovalev, but the dude has championship level experience. This is a guy that's won some rounds against Ward, uh, knocked Ward down, beat the guy Alvarez to beat him in a rematch. You know what I mean? Yes, I do think Kovalev is slowing down a little bit. He didn't, especially beginning of the fight, man. Yard hand speed was just telling at the beginning of the fight. And I think Yard, his hand speed, and when he was moving, he'll stay in front of Kovalev and then he'll reset again. I think that was kind of throwing Kovalev off a little bit. But Kovalev was winning some of those rounds. I thought he was just pumping his jab out a little bit more when Yard really wasn't doing anything. They're replaying the eighth round and Yard was just teeing off on Kovalev, man. He did a good job. Right now, they're showing in the eighth when Kovalev was trying to hold him. He was trying to grab and hold, and Yard did a great job of punching out of that clinch. He did. I think he did what he could do, man. Kovalev just hung in there. Man, that was a good fight, man. That was a pretty good fight. October 4th, what's up, man? Chosen 115 was good. Just K. He said this was Hay and Thompson all over again, huh? Universal Truth says, okay, yeah, I read that one. Let me see here, man. Universal Truth says, gassed out like Joshua. That's that muscle bound for you, man. That's what being muscle bound does to you. Yes, it has its benefits, especially if you can imply it in the ring with your physicality and you can push and shove and lean your weight down. But usually, man, all that muscle needs air. You know what I mean? So it's just tough to carry that much muscle, man, in a sport where cardio is key. You know what I mean? I agree, Will Bag. A lot of muscle, but you appreciate the fact that the guy actually uses his physicality. I've seen guys like that where they're muscle bound as hell and they'll be the first one to hit the canvas, you know what I mean? Or to get knocked over or pushed over. Although Kovalev, I could tell Yar was really slowing down when him and Kovalev kind of bumped into each other, and he was one to hit the canvas. Again, I got to replay the actual footing. Maybe his foot got stepped on or something like that. But usually when I see that and I see you breathing through the mouth with a bloody nose and you're breathing hard and you're now you're taking a step back and instead of bending at the waist and moving and rest in peace, but you're doing your Pernell Whitaker impersonation, then all of a sudden you just put the high guard up and just lean over and kind of just pray for the best. Uh, you're more willing to get knocked over, even if a guy just push you with his shoulder or push you off with his forearm. Let me see here. Marquise Monroe says he was walking him down to take chances. He knew he had to dig deep. Yes, he did. Because he knew standing on the outside, he was toast. You know what I mean? That long jab and long right hand from Kovalev is tough to deal with. You have to get, I call it the line in the sand, the end of a guy's jab. You have to cross that line in the sand, man. You have to get up in his chest. And he knew he had to do it. You know what I mean? So I agree with you right there, man. And he almost got it done. Jay Jerk says Kovalev let him get away with a lot of those hooks. Anthony should have ducked his jab and pivoted with that same hook or just out of the way altogether. Man, I think Kovalev was having a hard time just getting the timing of the hit, the hook, especially when he was throwing the check left hook where he was trying to catch Kovalev coming in. Usually he was trying to catch Kovalev and Kovalev was throwing his right hand or he was letting that jab go. So I think once Kovalev kind of got the rhythm of it and picked up the trying to use a better word here, not just the rhythm, but just picked up the timing and the pattern of when he was going to throw it. I think once he picked up on that, it was harder for Yard to land it, and fatigue was setting in. So now that left hook that was fast and snappy at first, now it's slow, predictable, uh, maladroit. It's just easy to predict. Aladdin Saddam says should have sparred and went to the body more. Now I've heard shout out to my man BWTM Ingram. I left for a comment because I was listening to Ingram's commentary, um, and then I was watching the fight, and I had brought that up that man, is it true this dude didn't spar? Because I'm hearing it, and Ingram said he doesn't think it's true, don't believe it, but Andre Ward and Timothy Bradley was bringing it up all during the telecast, man. So now just because they were bringing it up, that doesn't necessarily mean it's true, but it's out there. You know what I mean? So whether he was misquoted or people took what he said in a prior interview out of context, the word is people that he didn't spar. You know what I mean? Or did do traditional sparring, but rather use his trainer to put the mitts on and attack him during mitt sessions. You know what I mean? So, but either way the kid put up a tremendous effort, man. Just wasn't enough. The experience, the grit. Kovalev's a true champion, man. Despite, what I'm saying, I know he does some stupid shit outside the ring, some questionable shit outside the ring. But as far as inside the ring, though, the dude is a true champion. You know what I mean? Now, hopefully, he can unify with all the other title holders at that division, man. They can try to strive for unified and possibly undisputed. Man, I wonder if SOG got the itch to come back, man. I don't know. I think Andre Ward may stay retired. Even if he did come back, I don't think he'll try to get back down to light heavyweight. I think he'll probably try to take somebody at heavyweight or something. Renique 313, what up though, man? What's good? From Detroit, what's good, man? Big Boys Boxing, aka Kiwi Box, what's good, man? He says Yard two gas and took a dive. That wasn't a KO punch. It was a damn good jab, man. I remember when Larry Holmes landed a jab on what was the dude's name? Was it Asia Casio? And hurt him. I mean, we've heard stories of a lot of guys dropping guys with jabs. But I remember Larry Holmes knocked out Asia Casio with a jab, man. There's another fight. I can't remember right now. There's a few fights I know guys got knocked out with jabs. But to me, big boy, man, boxing, he looked hurt, lethargic, started to get lackadaisical. He was tired, mouth wide open, nose bleeding, eyes getting swelled shut. He kept constantly rubbing at his nose. He started to run out of ideas once his, in my opinion, once his come forward, walk you down, rip you to the body. Once he couldn't implement that anymore effectively, I think he kind of ran out of ideas along with fatigue. And I think that jab just caught him on the right spot. That's my opinion of it. Centurion son, oh yeah. I'm talking about them trying to unify and all this light heavyweight with better Biev and all these other guys. Yeah, man. I guess Canelo wants Kovalev next. You know what I mean? I wish Canelo would just fight some of the other guys, man. Love to see him fight the Charlo, somebody like that, man. But at this point, Canelo's at a level, man, where this dude can literally fight the milkman, and his core fan base will come out and support him in droves. You know what I mean? So um, I wonder how would they do this fight? Because Canelo's even though he's a phenomenal fighter, he's the king of catch weights, man. You know what I mean? This dude might fuck around and have this fight at like 169.5 or something. You know what I mean? So I guess we'll see what they do with that. He is the king of catch weights. Shout out to my man Mac McKenzie, hit me up in that super chat, man. I appreciate that. He says no sparring and too much muscle mass caused his KO. I agree. I agree. I think that's few of the reasons that caused it, but I definitely would mention those. Neutral Natural says Sergio Martinez didn't have no sparring partners. Yeah, I heard my man's oh damn. Mr. Natty Turner won. He was on the BWTM live stream, and he actually threw that in the chat as well. That Sergio Martinez really didn't do any sparring. I know Martinez was like what was he, like a bicyclist or something back in the day, um, or a tennis player, or one of the two. Something that will get you to have great cardio and good footwork. Not necessarily that riding a bike would help you with your footwork, but you guys get what I'm saying though. Just great cardio. Let me see here. I skipped over a lot of comments, but let me try to get to them real quick. Sheldon Holmes was good, bro. He says Yard head was on the center line too much for Kovalev's jab. Yes, it was. And he kept, and when I was watching the fight, I'm like, man, he's doing a great job of circling away from Kovalev's right hand, but he's circling right into his hard jab. You know what I mean? So, and then that's when I think that Yard kind of figured, like, man, I don't want to go towards his right hand. The jab is messing me up when I go that way. Then he started to implement the whole step to him thing. You know what I mean? I'm gonna just try to make you miss by coming forward on a straight line, which you're not supposed to do. But my feet are coming on a straight line, but my head's gonna be off center, and I'm gonna try to walk you down like that. Let me see here. I'm way behind these comments, y'all. Let me try to catch up to them really quick. October 4th says if Yard stepped up in levels better, he may have been able to win that. But Cove kind of ran the show with the jab. Yeah, especially during the second half of the fight. Even the first half, he was just popping it out more. Even when Yard was moving, making Kovalev reset. When he was making Kovalev reset, he's also making himself reset. You know what I mean? But I did think that Kovalev was winning a lot of those early rounds because he was using the jab. Rory Tabori says, what I found amazing was Yard was trying all sorts of stuff, looking for weird angles, but never tried something as simple as keeping both hands up. And bro, when he did keep both hands up, he kept them up when he was just dead tired. So that's what he'll reach. So now future opponents can look at Yard and say, man, if you get him in trouble or get him tired, his plan B is just to put both guards up and stand flat footed. You know what I mean? And that seemed like what he was doing when he started really gasping for air. Um, ninth round, 10th round, the round he got stopped in. Let me see here. Sheldon Holmes says Yard head was on. Okay, I read that one. Haters Have Opinion says Yard should have fought someone in the top 15. I totally agree, man. And for him not to fight anybody in the top 15 and to put up a performance like that says a lot about the kid, man. You know what I mean? Some people may say, nope, this says a lot about Kovalev, but that's a strong, explosive kid that was taking some hard fucking punches, man. Now, I guess it can be argued if Kovalev is the hardest hitter at 175. You got better Biev up there. People think he could probably crack harder, but if he's not the top guy, he's one of the top 2 or 3. You know what I mean? And so for Yard to walk through some of that, and like I said, man, when you're a young fighter like that, you kind of have the chance to fight out of your skin and you just don't know any better. Meaning, you know what I mean? You don't know what your limits are. You know what I mean? So you're going to walk through shots, keep walking through them, keep walking through them, and keep walking through them. And that's what he was doing. You know what I mean? And that can help or hurt you sometimes when you don't know any better. You're just kind of, fighting out of your skin. But I think his future opponents will look at him and say, all right, man, we get that guy tired, man. A good jab. You can fight him at distance. And he'll stand flat-footed sometimes. And when he does that, he'll put the high guard up, and you can work combinations around and through his guard. And I guess that's easy to say, right? Because Kovalev was able to do it. But just because Kovalev was able to do it doesn't mean, that a plethora of other guys would be able to do it. But it's definitely something that the top elite guys, especially the title holders or top contenders, can pick up on. But this kid is still a live dog, in my opinion, man. It's just how is it going to affect him mentally? If it doesn't affect him mentally like that, now he lost his first fight. Nobody likes to lose. But if it doesn't affect him mentally to the point where he uh, just falls apart and he's not doing the Lions in the camp thing no more, and his motivation and inspiration isn't the same, then uh, it may be downhill for the kid. But he keeps up the same attitude, the same self-belief. Just look at it as a learning experience. Doesn't make excuses. That's one thing I hope I don't hear from the kid. Hope I don't hear nothing about lucky punches or, uh, you know, uh, I had diarrhea before the fight. I just hope I hear nothing like that, man. But he stays positive and just, wanting to get back in the ring and stay hungry like I've seen him in a host of videos, I think the kid will be all right. Paul Braceville says, body, body, body on Kovalev. When will these boys learn? Shaking my damn head. You got to work that body, man. You got to be a relentless body puncher. October 4th says Kovalev actually killed him with the jab, but he was spent by then. A stiff breeze would have dropped him by the end of that beating. Miss Boxing, hey, so she says, coming back to eat my crow. Good fight, though. Centurion Son says Canelo will rip the body like Mexican meat. Miss Boxer says he couldn't recover from the energy he spent in Kovalev in round 8. I agree. Says Tony Yayo says Kovalev is done. No way he beats Bivol, Better Biev, or Vojdik. I think his best shot out of all those fights, bro, in my opinion, would be Better Biev because he will invite a war. But I think he may be packing more of a punch than Kovalev. Didn't they fight in the amateurs? Didn't Better Biev and Kovalev fight in the amateurs? Or I could have swore they fought in the amateurs. I could be wrong though, but Vojtik seems like the more the technician out of them. Bivol's a pretty good fighter too. But if anybody invites a war with Kovalev, I will give Kovalev a good shot of winning a fight. Tony Yale says even Marcus Brown gives Kovalev a tough fight. Universal Truth says I can't see Kovalev beating other champs in the division. This is probably his last stand. Tony Yale says Kovalev should cash out with the Canelo fight, and I think he just might, bro. Neutral Natural was good, bro. Jeff Boxer says Buster Douglas dropped dudes with the jab. Yes, he did. Who did Buster drop with the jab? I remember Evander Holyfield saying that going into the Tyson Douglas fight. Who did Douglas drop with the jab, man? I forget. But I do remember Evander Holyfield talking about that. Neutral Natural says he think Yard quit on his back. Let me see. Could he have possibly gotten up? I don't think he even budged. I don't think when he hit the ground, I think his eyes were open. But Neutral Natural says he think he quit. I think he got the fight beat out of him. Hey y'all talking about eating crow, man. I thought I was going to, but I got the prediction right. You know what I mean? But it was a damn good fight. Tony Yayo says, how does Yard look so much bigger than Kovalev, although the same weight? The big muscular dude, man. Jeff Boxing says there was gym footage of Sergio sparring Lucas Matisse years back. And who did they? Andre Ward brought up somebody that didn't spar. He said that Nigel Benn never sparred. Um, Look, I'm not, I wasn't at all these dudes sparring, or camps, or in their camps rather. But there is footage on YouTube of Nigel Benn sparring Roberto Duran. And Roberto Duran was a man, he doesn't get enough credit for his defense, man. If you go now, I know he gets credit for being a tenacious fighter. You know what I mean? One of the best lightweights of all time, one of the best fighters of all time, Roberto Duran. Um, but there's footage of him and Nigel Benn sparring. And Roberto Duran literally did a 360 in the ring. Like he literally turned all the way around and avoided a punch, man. It was great work. I don't know if you guys ever seen that clip on YouTube, but when we're done here, man, go watch Roberto Duran versus Nigel Benn sparring. All right, but Andre Ward brought up that Ward brought up that Ben never sparred. So I don't know how true that is. Um, Again, I don't know. Maybe it could have been for a fight or two where he didn't get as much sparring or little to no sparring, but just no sparring whatsoever. I don't know. That's a tough way, in my opinion, to go into a fight. Um, Rory Tabor says, I think the winner of Better Be a Voljic is the guy light heavyweight. I will agree with that. And he says, but Kovalev and McGirt are a great team and could beat any of the other champions. Let me see here. I'm gonna jump off in a minute, y'all. Let me see. K Django says I kind of give him a shot against Voljic. Boxing conversation with Reggie Owens was good, brother. He says Arthur is why Kovalev went pro. Let me see here. I agree, Mr. Wonderful. You do have to step up at some point, but literally from cab drivers to a three-time champ, that's what I was saying, man. Like, damn, this is a huge step up. I mean, this is a huge step up. Lope Dog says that one yeah, man, Canelo with them damn catch weights, man. He'll fight Kovalev at 169.99. You know what I mean? So I'm curious to see what a catch weight, or will Canelo move up to the full weight class and actually fight him at 175? But if he does do that, is there going to be some type of crazy clause where, what I mean, Kovalev can't come in a ring above 181 or something, some crazy weight stipulation, man, to where he's going to bring a drained Kovalev into the ring. Zayed Howitt says lack of sparring showed. Why do you say that, Zayed? Do you think because once he kind of was gassing, or maybe him not being in tough, if this whole thing is true, him not being in tough sparring sessions and sparring camps kind of limits you, or kind of limit your knowledge of knowing how to perform when you're tired or just in a tough sparring match. You dig what I'm saying? So if this is his first time being in that type of situation where he's getting pieced up a little bit and he has to take a deep breath and his nose is bleeding and his eyes getting swept a little bit, not that you expect all that to happen in sparring, but just those things are coming into play. Was it no man's land for him? Was it like, damn, what do I do now? Now I really have to learn on the job. You know what I mean? So was it that type of situation? Possibly. Or Kovalev just showed to be the better fighter as well. You know what I mean? Yeah, Loke Dog, I don't think he quit either, bro. Again, I didn't, I watched it live and I'm literally watching it and talking at the same time. So I didn't see the camera pan over to him and look at his face. Was he just sitting there counting with the ref? You know what I mean? But he looked beat up, man. He was dead tired. He got caught with a shot coming in, trying to land his left hand. Both eyes swelled up, nose bleeding. He was fighting with his mouth open for rounds upon rounds. Um, I think he literally got all the fight beat out of him. Could he possibly have gotten up and made the count? I guess I have to watch it again. But from what I saw, they had the camera strictly on Kovalev. So I'm not sure when he got up. Did he get up 5 seconds after the count? I'm not sure, y'all. I have to go back and watch all that. Hop, what's good, man? You made it to a live stream. He says Ward. So according to Ward, he says he needs to take off some of that armor. Totally agree. Yeah. All that damn muscle, man. I've never, y'all best was good, bro. I've never been a fan of that, man. Especially now, if you're a Joe Frazier type of fighter, a Mike Tyson, David Tua type of fighter, trying to think of an old school guy, Bob Satterfield type of guy, you dig what I'm saying? Where you're coming forward and that's what you want to do. Okay, cool. But if you're a guy that likes to move and want to, do your Jersey Joe Wolcott impersonation, you know what I mean, where you're moving your feet, moving your shoulders and kind of bobbing and weaving and catching the rope, trying to lumber that damn muscle is going to be hell going down the stretch, man. It's just going to be, I don't care what nobody tells me what new training methods and how guys are bigger and faster and stronger and all. Nah, man, I'm not a believer in that. You dig what I'm saying? Now there have been guys that have put on muscle that can still fight, but some of those guys to me seem a little bit more naturally built than some guys that are trying to be bodybuilders. Like a guy like Ken Norton seemed more natural with his physique. A guy like Mike Weaver, I'm not saying these guys didn't do any weight training, but they just look more natural with their physiques and the way they fought. They seem more fluid in their style. Guy like Mike Weaver, even a guy like Cleveland Williams, if you want to go way back in the day. Cleveland Williams was super cut up, you know what I mean? But that's just my opinion, man. You dig what I'm saying? The bodybuilder stuff though, man, I don't know. It to me it doesn't do you any good. BK Boxing Nate says he believes that Yard is another Jeff Lacey. I think he moves a little bit better than Jeff, but I get what you're saying though, as far as a physique. Uh, I think he moves a little bit better than Jeff though. You know what I mean? Hop says he agrees with me. He says exactly that was Norton's, Weaver's, and Williams' natural physique. Yeah, it just seemed more natural and fluid too. And even though Mike was muscle bound, we all know how quick and dynamite Mike Tyson was. You dig what I'm saying? I haven't got to explain Mike Tyson in his prime, but as fights wore on, though, although Mike in his early years when he was taking training camp seriously, um, and actually had people in his camp that were running the camp and he wasn't running it. Um, Mike would go down in the stretch of some of those fights against like Tony Tucker. Um, the other guy's slipping my damn memory, man. What was the cowboy dude? Oh, this is gonna piss me off. You guys know what I'm talking about. The cowboy dude that he fought, man, that took him the distance early in his career. And some people thought it could have been a draw. I didn't think it could have been no damn draw. But what's the dude that Mike Tyson fought, man? This is pissed me off because the dude was undefeated at one point, and then he started just racking up a whole bunch of losses. Holyfield fought him as well when he came up to the division. I have his face right. Tillis, thank you, Jesus Christ. Quick Tillis, man. Damn. But yeah, Quick Tillis, took Mike deep a little bit. And Mike, although he won those fights, he was slowing down a little bit. Now you can say, oh, the guys were holding, or the guys were running, or the guys were, yeah, Mike Tyson was also slowing down as well. You know what I mean? In some of those fights, even the Bone Crusher Smith fight. I agree, y'all best. I agree. I think his team took the fight way too early for him not to be tested. But hey, he wanted some experience. Here's your experience. You know what I mean? Now you're building your resume. Here's your experience. All right. So you have the experience of going in there, giving it all you got. A guy persevering through your hard shots. Even though he walked through Kovalev hard shots, Kovalev walked through his, well, I can say he walked through, but he survived. He survived his onslaught and then came back in the very next round and turned everything around that round on. You dig what I'm saying? So And I thought Yard paced himself well in that eighth round. I thought he went for it. I thought he was when Kovalev was trying to clinch and hold, he was fighting out of the clinch with Kovalev to not let him breathe or get a rest. And he just took his shots, y'all. He just stood in there. So I think Yard actually not maybe I need to watch it again. Maybe there's could have been some shots he could have set up more, but to me he was letting his hands go and he was fighting, with desperation and fighting with a kid who was trying to get him out of there. He was trying to take that title away from Kovalev. So I commend him for that, man. But Kovalev being a champion, having that good, having a good chin, he was able to survive and got Yard out of there. So this is where his experience begins, man. BC, what it do, man? He says classic case of too much too soon, not enough experience. I agree. Mala2243 says, look at Tyson's record. Most opponents who got past the seventh round went 12. Hop says, here's my summary. Yard had no answer for the outside game, and Kovalev had no answer for the inside game. And then Yard's bulk made the difference. I agree. Neutral Natural says in boxing, you can learn from a loss. Yes, you can. Neutral Natural says, like while Pulev get a pass being mandatory in the IBF, just fighting inactive bodies, I want to see Pulev versus Konaski. That'd be a damn good fight. And yes, Pulev, man, he's been fighting Kevin Johnsons and Kevin Johnson at this stage is a gatekeeper for prospects. You dig what I'm saying? Slippery guy, knows how to survive, but he's more of a gatekeeper for journeyman. Pulev shouldn't even be trying to fight guys like that. Now I understand he's trying to preserve his IBF mandatory position, but fighting guys like Sam Peter, yeah, he fought an old Sam Peter and old Kevin Johnson, guys like that. He did fight Bogdan Dinu, got interesting. It was bloody and nasty fight. But yeah, I want to see him fight the Konowskis, and I guess he's gonna have this IBF title shot, whether that's Andrew Ruiz or if it's Anthony Joshua. Um, but I would expect him to take more of the same. If he was to take a fight, let's say that his team and him want to take a fight, it's going to be another journeyman. You know what I mean? Or we may get somebody like a Bangdan Dinu, maybe like I'm trying to see who would be equal to him. I don't know, somebody that's probably lost a fight or two, Adrian Granat or somebody like that from, the other Swedish prospect, so I don't know, man, but I definitely want to see Pulev in some tougher opposition. But I think they're going to just wait and save their mandatory spot, man. That's what I think. So I'm not going to get my hopes up for that. He did fight Huey Fury. I'll give him that. I'm not going to take that away from him. He did fight him. That was a winnable fight for Huey, in my opinion. Neutral Natural says, what if one of those journeymen upset Pulev with a be mandatory? Uh, Look, man, the way I would want to run the sport, I would say yes. I'm not sure what the IBF would do, but to me, yeah. It's just like when who was that, man? It was when Riddick Bowe, well, no, it was Mercer was getting ready to fight Jesse Ferguson, right? And a lot went on in that fight too, man. That allegedly Mercer was trying to tell Ferguson to take a dive during the fight. During the fight. You know what I mean? But had Mercer won that fight, he was due to fight Riddick Bowe. That would have been a damn war, man. Riddick Bowe versus Ray Mercer. That would have been a war. But anyways, Ferguson upset him that night. So then he got to fight Riddick Bowe. You know what I'm saying? So uh I would love to see things like that happen, man. But being it's a journeyman guy, I'm not sure the IBF would do that. But the way I see things, hey man, if you want to take those type of fights, you got to suffer the consequences if you lose. And the guy that beat you should be able to reap some rewards. You know what I mean? And if that's his way to a title shot by beating the mandatory, that's how boxing should be ran. It shouldn't go, oh, you beat the mandatory. Well, you need to prove it by fighting the guy that's rated number two. Nah, that's backwards, man. Being mandatory should mean something. I think guys should carry that honor, you know what I mean, and defend it. And if you lose it, that guy should be able to take your spot, whether he's a journeyman or not. Now, does that mean that the number three guy that's rated couldn't beat him? No. But if he earned it by beating you, he should get his title shot. That's how I would do it, though. Yes, Mala 2243. And he Could you imagine, man, just being in the ring? Like, man, just lay down. Man, I'll pay you. Just please lay down. Just lay down. And I know back in the day, man, when the mob ran boxing, a lot of that foolery was going on, man. But I just couldn't imagine, man. That I know Ferguson was like, is he serious? Bam, take that in the face. What are you talking about? Bam, take this one too. Just kept sticking him with jabs and right hands, man. Like, get the hell up out of here. Christian Lewis, the artist formerly known as Time Cat, was good. He says, how's it going, Mr. Boxing? Yard looked good despite the lack of experience. Great fight. I thought it was a good fight, and I thought he did well, man, for a guy that doesn't have a lot of experience. I agree. Hop says Mercer has to be on the short list of all-time great rock chins in boxing. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, he is, man. I know Klitschko caught him at the end. Was it Klitschko that got him? Was it Vlad that got him finally? I think Vlad finally was able to get a stoppage against Mercer. But he caught him at the end, though, man. BC says Pulev really struggled against Dimitrenko. He's not a strong contender, in my opinion. You think he struggled, bro? I mean, Dimitrenko was doing some moving around, trying to use his reach. I thought Pulev was jabbing him to death. Unless I need to watch it again, bro. But I thought Pulev jabbed the hell out of him. And didn't he? Yeah, speaking of jabs, knocking people with jabs, didn't he knock Dimitrenko out with a jab? Or am I tripping? I thought he knocked him down or knocked him out with a jab. BC, let me know if I'm tripping, man, if I need to watch that again. But I thought he was handling him well in that fight, bro. But when you say struggle, though, do you just mean it wasn't as downhill as you thought it would have been? Like it should have been a complete blowout, especially based on what we've seen of Dimitrenko since then? Or do you think Dimitrenko's really giving him some good work? Because from what I remember, man, I thought Pulev pretty much controlled that fight. Universal Truth says Evander will still give Mike hell. Look, man, Evander Holyfield will have Mike Tyson's number when they're 75 years old. You know what I mean? He will always have it. I know people say, oh, but it was the Mike without cuss, and it was the Mike after prison, and it was the Mike this, and it was the Mike. But look, man, Evander went through wars himself, man. Evander wasn't just this fresh fighter, um, was unscathed and he caught Mike at a bad time. No, man, Evander came into that fight as well, looking like shit against Bobby Ches. You know what I mean? Looking like shit against Ches. Um, and then when Evander, you never knew sometimes his heart was going to give off, his arm was going to fall off. You guys know that if you guys have listened to me for some years, you guys know I hated Evander Holyfield coming up. Respect the guy as I got older, but in my fanboy days, I was a huge Mike Tyson fan, and I just could not stand Evander Holyfield. I could not stand Evander, man. Like I was so much of a Tyson fanatic, yo. Like when he bit Holyfield, I was cheering it on. Like, yeah, that's what he get for head. But like I was justifying it and everything. Just a huge Tyson fan, man. But now some people may, say that Evander was on steroids when he went into that fight. I know the whole Evan Fields thing pops up. Holyfield was an underdog for a reason, man. And in the second fight, he made Mike quit pretty much. You know what I mean? So to me, I think Holyfield would always have Tyson's number no matter when. And yes, I still think the 89 version of Mike Tyson would lose to Evander Holyfield. Now, Holyfield was a lot thinner in those 80s, but I still think Holyfield just would have found a way. I don't see Holyfield getting steamrolled against Mike Tyson. Bo couldn't do it. I'm not talking about no old Evander Holyfield against Nikolai Valuev and all that shit, and Sherman Williams and uh what's the other dudes he done fought? All them type dudes. I ain't talking about that. Sultan and Bragamov and all them. I'm talking about the Holyfield, even in the 90s. Guys like Lennox couldn't even run through him. I know Bo got to him and stopped him in the third fight after Holyfield dropped him. But if guys like that can't just run through him, Ray Mercer couldn't run through him. You know what I mean? He proved Tyson couldn't run through him. That he's just not a guy that's going to get just ran through by any version of Mike Tyson. I don't give a damn if Cuss was in his corner, the whole original team. And that's no disrespect to them because they made Mike Tyson, but I don't see Vander giving in to Mike. He didn't give in to Mike when they were kids. You guys have all heard the story. when they're at a amateur tournament, and Mike Tyson allegedly was punking kids at the pool table, and who stepped up to him? The real deal. And this when they were kids, you know what I mean? So, and Mike has always spoke on this. He always had respect for Evander even back then. You know what I mean? So the fighters know, man. They know in their mind, like, okay, I know what the public thinks, but I can't run through this guy like that. I gotta have a different plan. You know what I mean? At least a plan B and C. Now I'm gonna try to run through him, but good chance it might not work. Yes, BC, I've seen it quite a few times on ESPN. 30 the Chase and Tyson. Yep, they pretty much break it down uh through their own words. That's the one thing I love about that documentary. It's through their own words in chronological order from interviews that was taken during said time. So it wasn't like somebody's talking about what happened in 1989. No, it's actually the interviews or the videos from 1989 of these guys talking about the fight, the build up to the fight. Don King was doing a lot of shenanigans. Look, man, much as I love Mike Tyson, they better be lucky that YouTube wasn't around back then because Don King was avoiding that fight. Now, I'm not saying he was scared of Evander Holyfield because everybody would have picked Tyson to win that fight. But it was just some of the things he was saying was kind of like, huh? And even some of the shit Mike was saying, I think Mike was getting irritated by being asked about Holyfield, and he said something to the effect of, "Well, we'll just make him wait," or something like that. Man, it was just something like that. It was like, okay, but Evander always wanted that fight, always wanted. He wanted it quick, but his team was the one that was making him come up, fight quick. Tillis, Pinkland Thomas, Stewart, all those guys. But he wanted to fight Mike quick though. Yes, and there was a whole bunch of A side, B side going on in that as well. Yes, BC, you and K Django was right. You know what I mean? And it started way before Mike Tyson as well. Should look at a guy like Sugar Ray Robinson. Sugar Ray Robinson started bringing up stuff about the contract literally while he's getting his hands wrapped. Literally, like yeah, I ain't going out, man, unless X, Y, and Z happens. You know what I'm saying? So Mala2243 says what people don't realize is Evander was fighting big heavyweight 6'5", 240 pounders who punched hard and had 80 to 82 inch reach. Tyson was 5'10", 220 with 71 inch reach. That's what Holyfield was able to deal with him. Yeah, he was the bigger guy, and he was stronger than Mike. Yeah, he was stronger than Mike. Evidence during the fight. Evident during the fight. Bullying him around, pushing him around, putting Tyson in position he wanted him to be in, able to tie Tyson up and walk him back with ease. He was walking Mike back with ease, man. But Evander was always a strong guy. They can get into clinches with guys, and he will walk Lennox Lewis back. Not every time they got into a clinch, but he had his fair share of times where he walked Lennox back, where he walked Bo back, where he tied up with Big George and walked Big George back. Evander was super strong, man. Super strong legs. Oh yeah, Universal Truth. People would have hated Ray Robinson. Hated him. People think they hate like Floyd Mayweather and guys like this, man. Could you imagine how hated like Jack Johnson would have been? Sugar Ray Robinson, even Muhammad Ali. Now, Ali, man, yes, he's loved now and everybody loves him now. But for you boxing heads that really know, you historian heads, man, that watch these old documentaries when we were kings and all them old documentaries, you know the president not like him. He was loudmouth, talked a lot of shit. They wanted somebody to shut him up. Just shut this loudmouth motherfucker up. Just please shut him up. You know what I mean? Um, and then when he joined the Muslims, like they did not like that dude. You know what I mean? They did not like that dude. They wanted Sonny Liston to shut him up. You know what I mean? Then when Joe Frazier finally shut him up, well, first the government shut him up by taking him out the ring for some years. You know what I mean? Then when Frazier was able to shut him up in the ring, the press kind of people thought like, oh, there you go. Now you shut your ass up. You got put in your place. Then he went on to achieve even greater things. You know what I mean? That's what you gotta love about Ali, man. Yes, sir. The Louisville Lip. James Dagg says, where was Wilder supposed to fight in Russia before his opponent tested positive for PEDs. Oh, you talking about Povetkin? I believe that fight's going to take place in Moscow. In Moscow. That's right, K. Django. Still calling him Clay when they know that man want to be called Ali. You know what I mean? They know that man wanted to be called Ali. His mama name him Clay. I'm gonna call him Clay. They said his mama name him Clay. I'm gonna call him Clay. Ernie Terrell had to learn the hard way, didn't he? The big cat, Ernie Terrell, man, big heavyweight back in them days. Big heavyweight, like 6'6". Terrell had to learn the hard way. Let me see here. Man, Hop, that's a great question, man. And unfortunately, that would never be we'll never have the, you know, the concrete answer to that, obviously. But my man Hop says, how good could Ike Bucci have been? Was his arsenal varied enough? I seen him struggle against a guy named Greg Pinkram that fights on YouTube. And that fight let me know, because one day I was thinking about him fighting Evander, just based on Abe Buche's willingness to mix it up. I mean, hey man, if you could take David Tua's punches for the duration of a fight, you got a damn good chin. And it wasn't like he was trying to avoid David Tua. He came right to him. You dig what I'm saying? I've seen David Tua damn near kill people in the ring. You know what I mean? Go look at the Michael Moore fight or the John Ruiz fight against Tua. You know what I mean? But because Lennox Lewis wasn't trying to come straight to him like that. You know what I mean? But Lennox fought a smart fight though. But what made me think that Bucci would have trouble against Evander was watching that fight against Greg Pinkram, because that guy was able to box a little bit, slug a little bit, but then, you know, Bucci, there's levels of this, right? He was just a better fighter. Just ended up out fighting the guy. But man, Ike, if he cuts the ring off on you and he gets into a drag out fight with you, I would love to see him fight Ray Mercer. You know what I mean? That would have been a great fight too. But if you get him in one of them situations, he's going to have a good chance. But if you make him have to chase you a little bit, or there's some separation that you can create between you and him, like against Chris Bird, even though he caught Chris Bird and knocked him out. I remember that fight, man. I remember Roy Jones doing the commentary. That was a funny listening to that, man. I remember Roy said something. Jim Lampley said something. Roy was like, "Yeah, well, he don't know where the hell he is right now." Like, it was something like that Roy said. Roy in his early years was classic on HBO. But yeah, I think probably some of the big guys would have been trouble for him. Even a guy like Andrew Galata, if Andrew could have kept his head together. But I'm talking about like that 90s Andrew Galata, man. Galata, Bo, Lennox, you know what I mean? I think they would have gave him trouble. And I think his better chances of winning fights would have been against guys that want to brawl, you know? All right, y'all. I sure appreciate y'all showing up, man. So yeah, Kovalev retains his title. He fought off a young, tough, gamed Anthony Yarde, man. Appreciate y'all showing up. Until the next time, man. Y'all be easy. I'm gone.